everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Sandtown Community Association tonight. We will start off as always with a prayer. Donald, you want to lead us in prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father, thank you for another meeting. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to show you that we care about where we live. Thank you for allowing us to show love and care and concern for our neighbors. Thank you for allowing us to be able to disagree with harmony. And Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. For those who are here, for those who are not and on their way in the midst of whatever is going on right now. And Father, we pray for your grace and your mercy. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Donald. Marilyn, you want to give a quick update about membership? You're on mute, Marilyn.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to say thank you for your joining the Sandtown Community Association. Our dues are $25 individual. Our family dues are $40. And if you're a business or you have a homeowners association, they are $50 per year. Right now we have a number, excuse me, a number of members, a lot of members who have joined since last September. I had it up on the screen. Where is it? And you all probably can't see this. But we've got quite a few people who have joined us since 2021 when we first started to go back and get on Zoom. Beverly Anderson, Jackie Washington, Jerome Ratchford, Jerome Steed, Pamela Freeman, Kadian Calloway, and I hope I pronounced that name correctly, Emery Houston, Patrick and Jacqueline Royster, Stephanie Hudson, Kevin Maxberry, Robert Talbert, Marvin Arrington, Marilyn and Henry Lee, and Debbie and I can't think of her name.
Debbie. You mean my dues renewed?
No, we just renewed our dues. I can't think of your husband's name right now. Debbie and Kenny Davis, Ivory Denson, Linda Allen, and Dr. I can't never pronounce his name. Oh, my neighbor up the street, Debbie Oye. And we just wanted to tell you how much we appreciate your participating with us, just like Donald said, and just really being there. You know, when you got a whole cohesive unit, you can get a whole lot of things done. And so we just want to say how much we appreciate you. And if I left anybody's name off, please let me know because I don't want to do it. I just got a whole stack of PayPal confirmations here and so forth. So if I left your name off, please let me know. Thank you. And that's my report.
Thank you so much, Marilyn, and welcome to all of the new members. We're going to switch around the agenda just a little bit because we just got a message. Mrs. Warren would like to go first. She has a quick update. So if you all don't mind, we'll let her go first. Ms. Warren.
Happy June, everyone. I feel like it's been a while since I talked to you guys, but it hasn't been that long. We have just finished graduation, and I'm going to give you guys some numbers. We have Westlake High School. Their graduates earned over $24 million in scholarships, 24 million plus, highest in the district. And they graduated 487 students. Langston Hughes High School graduated 431 graduates with over $21 million plus in scholarships. And they had 59 students graduate with associate's degrees. Oh. We have Creek, yes, ma'am. We have Creekside High School that graduated over 381 seniors. And they had over $13.6 million in scholarships. And this was as of May 1st, they've had a ton of they've had even more scholarship money. Tri-Cities High School, they graduated over 360 plus students, and they graduated with over $15 million in scholarships. And Banneker High School had 327 graduates with well over $2.5 million in scholarships. So I wanted to start my report by saying that, because sometimes it's really with the day-to-day of school, we sometimes forget that kids are graduating, and not only are they graduating and going to Spelman and Morehouse and Clark Atlanta and NCAT and Howard. We also have students who are choosing to go to Ivy League, some students who are going to the military, and some students who are going off to work. We had a student this year who got his pilot's license, so he will be flying pretty soon. So I say all of that to say that at the school system, we've been really busy. We've been in budget talks for the last 60 days, if not more, actually not longer than that, since February. And what I'll do, if you go on our Fulton website, and I'll put it in the chat for everyone, we have not approved it, but we are going to be able to roll back our millage rate by 0.5 percentage point, just through us having good financial management. We had our budget hearings last month, one in North, one in South. And so we just want to make sure that people know, being as transparent as possible about how we spend our money. So I will drop that link for everybody to see. I have said this before, we do have the biggest budget, and 78% of our budget goes directly to schools. And so as we are going up into this upcoming year, we have put more into the budget where we are hiring more mental health counselors. We are upping the pay for police officers, and we have decided to use a lot of our CARES money to up the pay for teachers. This upcoming fall, you guys know this, I've talked about this before on here, is that we have overcrowding at several of our South Fulton high schools, namely Westlake, Langston, and Creekside. If you look at census data, you will see that in South Fulton is growing at the rate that North Fulton grew in the 90s. So we are closing almost triple the amount of homes as other areas. And so knowing that, in the fall, we will do a redistricting. What that means is we want to alleviate some of the space at a Westlake, a Langston, a Creekside, and move students other places. This will be very controversial. But what I'm encouraging people to do, and I will put that in the chat also, we already have our dates established, and we have a whole redistricting website. So we don't come with maps already drawn. The way we do it is that people come and we get feedback, we look at data, and then they will submit the maps on what they think would be the best solution to the overcrowding. It will also cause us to redistrict some of our middle schools just to keep the patterns. We don't know who or what yet, but I want it to be as transparent as possible. What I believe is what will happen is, even when we redistrict this time, in 4 years, based on the growth in South Fulton, we will need more schools and more redistricting. Because as you can see, we have areas in my zone where, if I go down by Creekside, you have subdivisions or several hundreds that are coming. You have whole subdivisions being built in the Westlake district and the Langston district. We have a lot. And so just to be proactive, I want people to stay engaged in that process as we try to do that. A lot of people will say, hey, we should just add on to Westlake. And one of the things that we have found, and we have been very vigilant about this year, is for students who do not live in the zone, in the attendance zone, making sure they go back to their home schools. And so we have space at other schools. And so that will be a point of contention. It will not start until end of July, where we start having these discussions. And in August, they will come to my community meetings. I will send you guys an invite so you guys can be there. But I wanted to let the community know. But this is a direct reaction to the overcrowding, just from the census, just the explosion in people moving here. And it doesn't look like it's letting up. And so with that in mind, I just wanted to bring you guys that. And I'm here for any questions that you may or may not have.
Well, first of all, hooray! Watching some of the, on YouTube, some of the graduations, and I saw about the students and the 59 associate's degrees. I'm like, yay, yay, yay. This is a wonderful problem to have.
Yes, 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 yes.
Wanting to move in the neighborhood schools. Our schools are the cornerstone of our neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
You get that part of it right, everything else will fall in place and you will have a wonderful, thriving neighborhood. And I am excited. So congratulations to you, Ms. Warren, for your leadership and all of the schools and their leadership. I mean, that has happened when these kids have been going through this pandemic.
Yes.
And we need to celebrate that. And I'm real excited. So are there any other questions of Ms. Warren?
And I wanted to add, I've gotten a lot of questions about safety and security in our schools, just from the horrible tragedy that happened in Texas. So one of the things that I've been telling parents in the last couple of SPLOS, probably about 3 SPLOS ago, we decided to upgrade all of our cameras in Fulton County schools. So we have cameras that are so good that we can see every part of the building minus the bathrooms, which of course is against the law. And so a lot of parents will come and say, you know, how do you know what's happening in the schools? We need more police officers. Every high school has 1 or 2 police officers assigned to them. But if something happens at another school, these are trained, certified police officers. Sometimes they go to other schools to handle situations. And we also have campus security associates. These are people who are not police officers, but help us in some of our security things. One of the things that I tell people is that a lot of times with our cameras, we not only see the inside of our building, but the outside of our building. So it is a remote site where they monitor all of the cameras and they alert our schools to things they maybe cannot see. There have been people who said, hey, we need more police officers. We have upped our pay for police officers. But if you look at the bidding war that's happening between the municipalities and them trying to staff police officers, just like any other industries, just like nursing, just like teaching, it is hard. And so as we do have staff police officers and we have our own police force, and we also have our CSAs, one of the things that I've asked parents, especially when you start talking about middle and high school, is our buildings are big and wide. They're not like prisons. And we have, if I look at a school like Westlake or Langston, there are probably about 40 doors in those buildings. So we depend on our cameras a lot of times. And so as we go into this upcoming year, starting a campaign for our parents and our community members, come and volunteer. It is really important when kids see community members in the schools, it really, really helps them. And so as we are talking about safety, as we are bringing mental health supports, as we are doing those things, we cannot be remiss to talk about just the impact having community members in there. A lot of times when we hear of situations, it's the videos that we take and that we see where we can get the full story for things that have happened. So sometimes, you know, community next door, somebody will say this happened, and we simply pull up the video and look at it. And so that's a lot of times, you know, when I address a concern or talk to someone about it, it's because we've seen the video. Last but certainly not least, we have our principal at Sandtown Middle School got a promotion. And she is moving up to Roswell High School to be their principal. And so we have a new principal at Sandtown, Miranda Freeman. Miranda is the principal at Cliftondale Elementary School. Miranda is the principal, she was my children's principal, but she was the principal that took Cliftondale Elementary School from an F school to a B school. She is highly capable, and we will be doing a meet and greet for her. So once the date is established, I'll be sure to share it with you guys. She is a great addition to our family. Somebody asked about the STEM school in Fairburn. So it's simply 9th and 10th grade right now. They don't have a senior class, but anybody in South Fulton can go to magnet school. So anybody in South Fulton can attend the magnet school down in Fairburn.
Great. Any other questions? Well, thank you so very much, Ms. Warren.
Thank you guys. I'll see you next month.
All righty. We will go back to the agenda and get it here. Fire chief and police chief.
Deborah,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just got where I could, I hope that the, Ms. Warren is still there. I had one question. She mentioned the, am I out of order? Can I ask this question?
You can go right ahead.
Okay, my question is, she was touting the number of the monitors and cameras and all that. They're only as good as someone is sitting somewhere watching it, you know. So my question is that can we be assured that there is someone there all the time when school is in session looking at the camera? Because having them and nobody looking to see what's going on is kind of useless.
I think she has gone, but I will write your question down, Ivory, and I'll email it to her.
Thank you.
And we'll get that answer. Are there any other questions before we move on with the fire and police? All righty, they are up. I don't know which one wants to go first, but I'll leave it to them.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Corporal Al, the South Fulton Police Department. I just wanted to go over some of the stats for District 1, week 22, if that's okay with fire.
You're good to go.
Okay. We did have one assault at Research Center Drive in the Walmart parking lot. The female may have mental health issues. She stated she was raped in the parking lot, but she also says that these group of people are following her throughout the city, raping her multiple times while she sleeps. So this could be a mental health situation. She said she was completely clothed, and she fell asleep and she woke up and she was wet, and she felt that she was assaulted in the parking lot. Other than that, we have an uptick in entering auto and auto theft. We're trying to urge citizens to take your personal items out of the vehicle while you shop, and be aware where your keys are at all times. There was two vehicles stolen from Hardy Bake. That's 6160 Boat Rock Boulevard. The victims left their keys in a lunch bag while they were working, and their vehicles were stolen while they were at work. So we urge citizens to know where your keys are and please take all valuables out of sight. You want to put them in the trunk or glove compartment. Next, I want to talk about some of the upcoming events. We have for tomorrow, an Out for Lunch food truck series at 6385 Old National Highway. That'll be from 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. in the parking lot of Walmart. We have a senior health fair, June 4th at Burdett Park, 2946 Burdett Road. That'll be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have a Chew and Chat on June 9th at Cliftondale Park, 4645 Butner Road. That'll be from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have our National Night Out, August 2nd, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 6385 Old National Highway in the parking lot of LA Fitness. And Captain wanted me to tell you guys about the Neighborhood Watch kickoff on September 15th. The time at this time is unknown. She'll get back to you with that. That's where you can register your HOA and your Neighborhood Watch at the precinct on 3220 Butner Road. And that's all I have.
Do we have any questions for the police from anybody? Well, thank you so much for joining the meeting and sharing those stats. I'm just so surprised. It just seems like people are a little careless. Things, not locking their cars and all of that. So hopefully they will be more mindful of their surroundings. The fire representative.
Hello and good evening. My name is Hilda Moses. I'm the Deputy Chief for Community Risk Reduction and Support Services for City of South Fulton Fire Rescue Department. I just wanted to share with the group that we have received and accepted into service a new ladder. It'll be stationed at Station 11, but the official ceremony for that push-in of what we call it in the fire service will be held at Station 11. And I believe it's going to be on June the 14th at 10 a.m. So anybody that wants to come out and take a look at the new truck our ladder that we're accepting are more than welcome to come. Again, that's June the 14th at 10 a.m. at Station 11. And the location of Station 11 is at 4760 Fulton Industrial Boulevard. We've also too wanted to remind everybody that there is a burn ban in effect for the state of Georgia. And so beginning May the 1st until September, open burning is not permitted. So May the 1st to September the 30th, open burning is not permitted within the county or within the city rather. So just kind of wanted to let everybody know a little bit about that. Also wanted to share with the group that we have a new class of recruits coming on. So we did a pretty large hire, and we're going to be training new recruits beginning in July, hopefully to be able to accept them in service within about 6 months following they completed the training for EMT and firefighter 1 and 2. So those are the certifications that these new recruits will be coming out of the recruit class with. And also too, we have as effective as of yesterday, we have gone through what's called a collective bargaining agreement with the local union. And so pay raises are going to have become effective for positions from captain down to firefighter. And hopefully that will help us out with retention of firefighters and ensuring to have an attractive benefit for firefighters to come and join the South Fulton Fire Rescue Department. So we're really excited about that. And let's see, also too, the governor's incentive was approved and it should be coming out real soon. But as far as the actual date to send out the payment or the incentive payment for the firefighters is not actually known yet. And it also covers not only the fire department, but the police department as well. And it is summertime, so just please make sure to advise everybody that, to be mindful to, when they're grilling out, to properly dispose of your coals and your embers from your coals or from your grill. Don't put them in cardboard boxes. Don't put them in plastic garbage bags or whatever. Just make sure that they're all, the embers are cooled down and collected into a metal bin until they're thoroughly cooled, and then properly dispose them following the cooling down of the embers and the coals and such. And that's all that I have for right now. Does anyone have any questions of me or?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I think it was yesterday, there was a fire down, I think it's in Clayton County, where 36 or 38 apartments totaled. And the problem was that when the fire department got there, there was no water coming out of the fire hydrant. Now, I know years ago, when I moved out here, almost 50 years ago, and the whole area was so different than it is now. Periodically, fire hydrants will run, to make sure everything was okay. My question is, does the fire department periodically check these hydrants to make sure that they have the right pressure and that there's water coming out of them? Because it would be terrible, to have a fire, call the fire department, and when the truck gets there, there is no water coming out of the hydrant.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I became aware of the news story. I watched it too as well, and we do have an inspection program, And matter of fact, our operations division is currently underway, going out inspecting all of the fire hydrants within the neighborhoods, and conducting an inspection was make sure that what they do is that they flow the water, ensure that the hydrants are free and clear of any debris, and that they're actually in fact working. If any fire departments are found inoperable, what we do is we contact the Atlanta watershed and put in a work order to get that fire hydrant fixed, and ensure that it can is operational in the event that there is a fire that we need to go and respond to. We do have a very good, strong fire prevention program, and so we also to ensure that as part of that process, we go out and ensure that the fire hydrants are working as well. So the city of South Fulton has a really robust fire prevention program, and we continue to tweak it and improve it each and every day for the life safety and protection of our citizens.
Well, just for the record, how often are the hydrants, water comes out to make sure that there's ample pressure and all of that? Fire prevention is one thing, but when you got a fire, you want somebody to be able to put it out, and not
Yes,
let
ma'am.
the house and all that burn down.
Correct. Well, what we do is we have beginning in April, our crews began going out and conducting flow tests for the inspections for the fire hydrants. So they go and they systematically, what we're doing right now is we're capturing hydrant information through a GIS program. So we're going out into various neighborhoods, capturing the actual GIS address for these hydrants, identify them. So it's a pretty long work, a pretty big, significant undertaking right now, because there has been somewhat of a disconnect from the former, I guess you could say, fire department, the Fulton County Fire Department, and then the information that was relayed between Atlanta Watershed and the fire department. So we are currently right now underway identifying those fire hydrants.
Uh-oh, we've lost her.
Deputy Chief, we lost your audio. Looks like her mic is muted.
Yes, her mic is muted.
Okay, all right. There it is. I don't know where I may have lost you all at, but I wanted to share that we have been sending out units to identify both the public and private water hydrants that we have out there, and then capturing the GIS address of all of these hydrants that we have within the city and the jurisdiction of the city. And so it's a work in progress. We began in April, and then we're going to have a second phase of the inspection process in October.
Oh, any other questions?
Thank you, Deputy Chief. This is Harvey Davis. Just to add on to your report, I heard from our city manager, Tammy Sadler Jones, this morning that the city has indeed received the $311,000 from the governor's bonus, and they said that it'll be going out shortly to all of the eligible first responders.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate the update. Thank you.
Cool. Any other comments? Well, thank you both for coming to our meetings and sharing this information. We will go on to the next person up is Lennar Holmes, and after Lennar do their presentation, then Stephanie Hudson will talk about the flyer that she would like to share of an event that's upcoming. So I think it's Brittany. Are you on the call?
Good evening, Ms. Davis. Yes, ma'am, I am here. And thank you all for having us. We do also have our senior urban planner and project manager for this project, Tyler McSwain. He is here and he's going to be giving the presentation this evening. He's from our office as well. And then we also have our clients on the call, Sarah Hawkins and Jeff Anthony with Lennar Homes.
Okay, thank you. Go right ahead.
All right, good evening, everyone. So this is Tyler speaking. What I want to go ahead and do is kind of share my screen, and we have a presentation for the community tonight. So if you all bear with me, I'll go ahead and broadcast that. presentation. Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen. And again, we've had some technical issues in the past, but this is just a short presentation on the proposed development that's coming to the Sandtown community. So again, I want to introduce myself. My name is Tyler McSwain, representing Battle Law and the applicant and developer for this project. We are located at 3562 Habersham at Northlake in Tucker, Georgia. I'm a fellow resident of Sandtown community. I stay in the villages of Sandtown, but I'll be representing this development as we do other projects within Atlanta metro area. So I'm going to go ahead and go right into it. This request is a rezoning to CUP. So it's rezoning from M2 to CUP to allow for 61 single-family detached homes. It's also located within the Sandtown Overlay District. I want to show you all the site plan in the area so we all know exactly where this proposed development will be. As you all can see in the screen, for those who know the new Publix, the Sandtown Crossing Shopping Plaza, this is northwest of that area located along Riverside Drive. The subject property in question is highlighted in yellow. So again, this property currently is undeveloped and is adjacent north to the Riverside Park Apartments, the apartments that were built adjacent to Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Next, we want to talk about the zoning just a little bit more. Again, we talked about its current use as M2, which I believe is industrial. And what we're going to is a residential CUP, community unit plan development. Want to show you all the site plan in question. This petition is going to be forwarded over to the city for consideration, and it will go before mayor, city, and council for recommendations. This is really the first time unveiling this plan to the community. So you all the first ones, given that it is located within the Sandtown community. So I'll leave the screen here just a little bit so everybody can absorb the site plan being shown. But again, we're talking about single family detached homes, and it will have one entrance and exit on Riverside Drive. All right, so I'll get back to the site plan because I know there'll be some questions, but I want to talk about the product that will be proposed for this development. What you all are seeing here is the proposed elevations that will be built within the community. A few things to point out with these homes is the brick water table that you can see on the house to the left. Definitely two-story, two-car garage, masonry materials, brick. We also can see the house rendering on the right as well. Here's some more products that's going to be proposed here as well. And again, these are two-story homes. And I may reserve some time for the developer to speak a little bit more about if there's any additional options in terms of the house style. Okay, so I want to get into the frequently asked questions that we've gathered based upon commonly asked questions. So one, the proposed building materials from the elevations that you all just looked at or was presented, it would be a mixture of brick, stone, lap hardy, shake, board and batten. Again, this is a mixture of those materials. The unit sizes are going to range from 1,800 square feet to 2,500 square feet, so 2,500. Number of bedrooms, this range is going to be from 4 to 5 bedrooms. Garages, we're looking at 2 car garages available for each unit. And most importantly, anticipated list price is going to be within the low 300s, probably mid 300s starting off, and that's going to go up from there. Date of the first units available for sale would be July 2023. And the overall market of what this development is geared towards to is the young families and young professionals within the city of South Fulton and the Sandtown community as well. With that being said, that's pretty much the end of our presentation. And I actually wanted if the developer is here, I'm not sure if I saw his name on there, but if he wanted to say a few words, he can. And if he's not on, I'll be happy to relay any questions or concerns that anybody has. So that's pretty much the end of the presentation for this development. So we hope that you all like what you're seeing, but if you have any questions or comments, I'll be happy to address any of those the best way I can.
And before we get to that, I do just want to add in there that we do also have some elevations that show a bit more brick. I know when we had our community meeting with the community members, there was some concern or a request to see more brick. And so if I would be allowed to share my screen, I'd be happy to show those.
Brittany, I'll stop my share.
Okay. Okay, I hope you all can see that.
Yes.
So it looks like you will offer a varying floor plan, exterior, that kind of thing, and the buyers can choose?
That's right. This is Jeff Anthony from Lennar, Vice President of Land. That's correct. So typically we'll offer 2 to 3 different what we call elevations.
Mm-hmm.
And we're more than happy to provide either more of a craftsman style, or we can go more of a brick style, full brick and stone. But yeah, typically we like to see some variety within the community, so it kind of breaks up that monotony, which I know a lot of folks don't like to see. So yes, we would offer some different looks, some really nice color schemes, just to make sure that we're doing right by the community, and that be something that y'all would be proud of for years to come.
There are some questions in the chat. One, there was a question about amenities in the community.
I don't mind clarifying my question if I can have the opportunity. I was the one that asked about the what other communities is the builder building these types of homes in. I'm actually familiar with Lennar. And so I was kind of surprised to see that this is what the offering was at this price point. And I'm going to be particularly candid in that the Battle Law Group typically tends to represent some projects that necessarily are not in alignment with what the community is asking for. So I'm just very curious to, as far as these renderings, where else are you offering this product in the metro area currently? Like, where else has this been approved? I'm just curious.
Yeah, good question. So We are actually in a community. We haven't started there, but it's also in the South Fulton area called Deer Haven that we're getting ready to start. We are in the city of Brazelton in a community called Brazelton Townside. There's another community
Offering these homes, these specific homes, these exact
yes.
specifications in Brazelton.
The same floor plans, yes.
And all the same finishes and all the same materials in Brazelton?
And elevations?
The elevations being offered in Brazelton are what we call a D, E, and an F, which is a mixture of materials. It's a craftsman style. What you're seeing on the screen now is more of has more brick. And I know it's in terms of nomenclature, this is what we call generally our J, K, and L, which is a more brick and stone look. We also offer these style homes in Heritage Point, which is in Henry County, which is more of your brick front, which is what you see here. So yeah, there's several communities that that we offer these in.
Marilyn, I see that your hand is up.
You can they go back and show the whole plan without the houses there? Because you know, the last time they were here, I looked at those houses and I said, you know, if I was a younger person, I might have to buy that because that might be what my pocketbook affords. But they don't look like things that are trending. And when I look at all the houses, it just looks like it's almost in a little compound there. You know, you got one way in, I understand that. And I want to see the other part where they all, yeah, that looks, you know, that looks sort of jammed up to me. And that looks like a whole lot of stuff in, I mean, how many houses can you get on an acre in there? And I know it's 61 houses, you said, but when I look at it, everything just looks like it's lined up as if you were in the military and this was where we were living. And I don't see a whole lot of variety there. The streets look sort of small, and they may not be small because we're looking at it a little rendering here, but everything looks real small, even the little cul-de-sacs and so forth. I don't know. I really don't know.
Yep. So the roads are, you know, typical Georgia standard roads. So there's nothing different there. They will be public roads, you know, built according to the city and county and state codes. But to address, I see your point. So what you're saying, maybe you'd like for us to maybe add a park of some kind, a passive area, a gathering area, something to give the community more a sense of a community. Is that what you're?
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just looking at the way it's laid out right now. You know, I'm looking at the streets and I'm always looking at if two cars were parked parallel to each other on the street and the fire department had to come down through there, would the fire department be able to get down that street if two cars were parked parallel and the fire truck had to go between them without a problem? And so that looks so tight to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be bigger when you get out there, but you know, just looking at this on the site plan, and I'm always concerned about houses that look like they're together, because if one house catches fire, then everybody else may catch a fire. I don't know. So this looks like we put a whole lot of stuff on here. I see the little cul-de-sacs there and all of that, but I don't know. It just looks like, I don't know what it looks like. It just looks like a whole lot.
Yes, ma'am. Well, to answer your question in terms of fire truck access, certainly that would be a concern in any community on any public road, which we address in our covenants, so the community will have a full set of CC&Rs. So in there, it does state that it is illegal to park parallel, you know, two cars right across the street from each other, especially on a permanent basis. So to the extent that you can enforce that, that's certainly a guideline that we try to get folks, we try to deter folks from doing. But again, outside of that, when we looked at this community, we understand that there's some other communities in the area that went the townhome route. And when we looked at it, we said, well, in good faith and in earnest, we don't think that the community in Sandtown is going to look at something and go, gosh, we could really support townhomes. While the CUP would support that and it's permitted, we understood that. And so our goal here was to make sure that we go detached, single family. We feel like young buyers will still be able to afford it with rising interest rates. When you get into the mid 300s and the high 300s, at some point, you still have to make homes affordable for young families. Love to hear about everything going on in the school system down there. That's wonderful. And we wouldn't see why this wouldn't be in keeping with, young families that can actually afford homes that have a nice look to them. The interior finishes are great. And they're detached with, nice backyards. And so anyway, I could probably talk all day and get on a soapbox about Lennar and the type of homes we build. I'm maybe biased, but I feel like we do build a nice home with beautiful front entrances, fully landscaped. We're the second largest home builder in Atlanta. So, we've been at it a while, and again, I just hope that we can do things justice by, helping to improve the community. So I'll be quiet now, and I'm sure other folks have questions.
There was a question about an amenity. When we last met, we talked about an amenity. So there isn't an amenity package in this development, or there is?
So in terms of an active amenity, when I say active, meaning a pool or a clubhouse, cabana, those type things, it's not going to be large enough to support, say, a pool or a cabana. One of the things over the years that we've experienced is if you get into a smaller community and you try to jam in a pool that requires a fair amount of maintenance and cost, it puts too much strain on the homeowners to, the dues would be too high to support it. And then what happens, they go defunct. They don't take care of the amenities. So in this instance, we could design in some more passive amenities, whether it be maybe a dog park or things maybe that y'all would recommend that, maybe it's a gathering area with a fire pit and seating. Is it a gazebo? Is it, what's actually going to get used, and give the community a little bit more of a passive amenity, if you will.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you know whether or not the people can, if they can afford a $300,000+ house, that a pool, that it will not be maintained and a this and a that? Are you stereotyping?
No, ma'am. I'm just simply saying that if you're building 61 homes, to put in a pool and a clubhouse costs somewhere around $500,000 just up front. And then the monthly fees to maintain that thereafter, that would need to be charged. Most folks in most single family communities probably pay somewhere around $50 a month. If you put an amenity in here, that's going to bump up your fees probably somewhere to $150 a month, just because the monthly cost spread over 61 homes would be such that I don't think most folks, I don't know, y'all tell me, but I don't like paying super high HOA fees. I don't know how y'all feel, but to me, $150 a month would be a little bit arduous just for a pool.
Well, for what you have presented, I agree with Ms. Lee about it. Almost look like row houses. There's nothing attractive about the layout of it, and maybe there's more profit in the way that you have it that way. But it's not anything that's appealing. That's just my personal opinion on that. I know I wouldn't want it. And they're so close together that if one house catches a fire, they're probably all going to burn down. I don't know how big the lots are. but they are extremely close, and there is nothing from the rendering that makes it, that's what you have shown to us. To me, nothing is attractive about it.
Okay.
And I know that this is supposed to be for young families and young professionals, but you know, a lot of the houses now, as my neighbor says, are trending. You might have something that looks like a little porch on the front. When I looked at those, I think it was the last time they were here. I said, oh, you know, unless I'm just really want a house and I was a young person, I don't know if I would want that. I don't, you know, everything's sort of trending down there for the younger people now, even with what's downtown, it just looks different. And when I look at those houses, it gives me an old feel for some reason. I don't know. I know you said they got 4 and 5 bedrooms in them, and it's a 1,800 to 2,500 square feet. But I just don't know. They still don't have that young look.
Alan, you had mentioned on the last call, I think it was a neighborhood that you considered trending, but I don't, you remember what it was?
When I'm out on what is that, Northside Drive? Is it Northside Drive? I'm going to yeah, maybe Northside Drive, and I'm going to Piedmont. And while you're sitting on Northside Drive after you get off 75, and you know, it's just like these people took the houses they already had, just gave them a facelift. And so they look a little different. They look a bit more modern, but it's the same house. And, you know, they put a little porch on the front and put some wood across it and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, when I look at the apartment buildings and things downtown, they may not necessarily be brick, but I don't know what it is that they use. And you might have this gray color, because that's what everybody uses now, the light gray and all that kind of stuff. These don't give me the feel for something that a young person, and they may come out and do it, but you know, it doesn't give me the feel like that's not the look I really want. Okay. Even the houses that we live in on our streets give a whole different feel than I think these houses would. I think a young person might be more apt to buy where we may be. Okay. But when I look at those houses, and he can put them back up there, yeah, I see the brick, I see stone, but I can't tell you because I'm not in the business, okay? And I just know the look, but I can't tell you what it is that you really need to do. They just don't look like new school, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that they are more of a, most of them are a traditional look. And you're looking,
you know, if they traditional. Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
You're looking for more of a trending look. And you know, a lot of the trends are the front porches, the stone, the that kind of thing. So
that have to be a big front porch, you know. I was
just
looking
a
at
smaller one.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the houses on Boat Rock that were impacted by the
storm,
a tornado, and I'm looking at how they're redoing theirs, and some of the same thing that happened to mine. I told the guy I want a new look. I don't want the same look I had before the tornado hit me. So I'm hoping that's what they're doing. They tore down bricks today, and they're doing all sorts of other things. So I'm waiting to see. And he said, I got an idea of what you're talking about. I said, okay, but I don't want my bricks painted. Most definitely, I don't want my bricks painted.
Hey, Debbie, we have 2 hands raised.
Okay. Who,
Larry and Harvey.
Larry and then Harvey.
Yes, my question was, how many acres will this subdivision, what size is it, you know, for 61 homes?
1 houses.
That's a good question. Tyler, do you have that handy?
Tyler here. Andy, you may be speaking, but I'm looking at information now.
I have the survey here. It says that the acreage is 17.466.
And there will be houses on all 17, or will the storm runoff be taking up some of those?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, most definitely. There'll be a portion of the site that you can see there that will account for on the east side, I guess plan east. On the east side, you've got a stormwater pond there. You have an additional stormwater pond in the, I guess, the southern portion of the site. And then you can see on the west side where there's a creek on that, I guess, the southwest portion of the site where the waters would run off into the creek there.
They consume some of the acreage? Is that, will that available for the houses?
Yeah, so a portion of the acreage will be consumed by the detention ponds.
Okay, so it's a little less than acreage.
But you can see it on the site. You can see it on the site.
Yeah, I
plan.
see it on the site, and that's what I was curious about. How much of the land that takes away does that, now that the houses are squeezed into less acreage?
That is true, but by law, they have to be there. So it's
Oh,
not
yeah, we got to
discretionary.
have that. I don't, you got to have the storm drains and the other things there. But when you say 61 houses, now it's not really, how many acres you said it was?
17.466.
Man, so now you probably put it on less than 17.4. 61 houses now on less than 17 acres.
I think the relevant question would be how big are the parcels?
Tell me that. What is that?
I don't know.
I'd have to look it up and see. I'm not in front of the exact square footage of the parcels, so I can send that information if y'all need that. That's no problem.
Well, say if it's 17 acres, let's just go back and generalize to 17 acres. You got 61 houses on 17 acres. You're going to have how many houses per acre?
At least 3.
So that's
3
third of an
something.
acre. Okay.
Which again, yeah. So again, our goal here was not to do townhomes, which would typically townhomes will have 6 to 8 homes per acre. So again, we just kind of felt like, hey, let's do half of that. Let's not put 80 homes here and 90. Let's cut that down. Let's do a nice detached community. And so I don't know, we felt like we were doing a good service by not cramming in townhomes.
That is true. And if you went a little further and put less houses in there, and the prices probably are going to go up. How much would they go up? It depends on the market. But if you went that route, I know 61 on 17 is a good number. 51. Do you guys survive?
Yeah. Well,
if I may, I just wanted just to make a general observation. It doesn't apply to anyone in particular. And that is that there are multiple uses for multiple types of folks, many of which those of us may not wrap our head around because we're not consumers or in the market to buy that. I've lived out here 30 years and things have changed quite a bit. My house is on a ½ acre. The reality of it is they don't build lots that big anymore. And even prior to that, the homes people like Maryland live in are much larger plots. So there are a lot of dynamics about what we think about new development as it relates to expectations that are based on what we think. And my perspective of when developers come to us about residential housing is that not so much if it's a use that I would want to buy, but if it's quality and it has the look and feel that I would be okay with that development being in my neighborhood. I really don't get involved in the price point or the proximity of the houses and those types of things. All I'm interested in is the aesthetics and the quality, because I'm not the one that's going to buy that house. And I really can't say whether or not people are going to buy it. I can't speak for young folks. I can't speak for current trends. I do know this is that if I sold my house, I would not be able to stay in this neighborhood because it's appreciated in 30 years to almost double what I paid for it. So there's a lot of factors. There are a lot of perspectives. I just think that our job is to be good stewards of the community and focus on the quality of the development, the aesthetics and the like, and let the buyer and the market determine what it is going to look like, how big it's going to be, et cetera, and that it's consistent with zoning law and the width of the streets and those types of things. And we have staff that reviews all that to make sure it's consistent. So like I said, I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but I just don't think it's our job to define a product that we're not going to be buying in the first place.
Okay, one more comment and then I'm gonna let someone else speak. Going forward though, we have now shaped the future of housing, the path that it will take, smaller houses, less, look on the houses are different. We are really, having a same product price-wise, but now we have different housing we're gonna sell, and that's gonna now go forward. We need to try to salvage that and keep it at a certain level to me. And I'm gonna drop on off of here now.
I was just going to say, at the end of the day, I see our role is to develop a win-win for a property holder that decides that they want to do something in our community. And I don't think it's my posture to address how much money they should make or the profitability any more than I would want them to tell me what color to paint my house.
Well, one of the things, and I think Ms. Marbury, I'd like to make a couple of comments. This whole area, we do have a diverse price point. I mean, there is a $1.4 million house that was just built right there off of Boat Rock and Alva Drive, I think. I passed by it the other day. And what we're finding is that we're trying to diversify the price points. We're trying to infuse the community with diverse residents. We have a large retirement sector. We have young families with school-aged children. My neighborhood, I've been out here since '98. My neighborhood has transitioned. All of our kids are out of college and married. We do have some younger ones, but they're on the high school end or going into college end. So the neighborhoods are changing. And you all also have to remember, this property is sitting around an industrial park. It's sitting right smack off of in that Riverside Park. At one time, many years ago, the 300 acres that was available over there was going to be developed into what down the street called Tributary. That was the whole idea behind all of that land. Behind Publix all the way to Fulton Industrial. And the bottom fell out of the market, and we have gotten warehouses and all of that because we live by the largest industrial park in the Southwest. So I'm sorry, Southeast. And so now you're putting a residential community in that, which hopefully will trend to getting more residential as opposed to industrial in that area. And so, like Harvey said, I agree with, I'm not in the market for that type of house. So the question becomes, is there a market out there for it? And we have to rely on the developer who is trying to put it there, that the market will bear what the offering is. Juanita?
Good afternoon. I would like to thank Harvey Davis for the opportunity to speak this afternoon. And Harvey, I agree with you to a certain extent, but we're left here to be good stewards. I, like you, Harvey, have been in the neighborhood for about 4 decades. And we've been here for a long time. We're not in the market, but we're left here with the community to try to make sure that we're getting the quality product and build the city of South Fulton as we would like to see it done. The houses that's been presented tonight, they do look cheap. They look kind of sad. And then when you look at the links that were made available to us at the other properties they've already built, they look cheap too. So what we want to do as elder people in the community, as overseers of the properties that we have here, to make sure that we give them a good product. We give them a great community. The homes there is very dense. They're stacked on top of each other. It does look like row houses on a military base. So we want to make sure most of us live in properties. We know what good properties are. Let's use our good judgment and leverage our committee efforts to make sure that we give the community a great product, a great community, and build the city of South Fulton what we would like to see in the next 4 decades. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments, questions?
This is Tyler again. We want to thank you all for providing those comments that we're receiving from the community, and again, we just wanted to state that the property in question is zoned industrial at this time. We know that again, that's an industrial corridor on Fulton Industrial Boulevard, and we know that the market, this a housing market in terms of crisis providing homes, and we think that that's going to be a better fit given that there's an apartment complex near this property. But we understand that you all's concerned about the quality, the building materials, layout, amenities, and walkability, all of those aspiring components of a new resident or subdivision. So again, we understand what you all are pointing out in terms of what's being presented, but again, we want to let you all know that the current zoning for the property is industrial, but again, the CUP allows for the design of a density that will kind of match what's in the area. So again, we do thank you. We're writing down these notes, and we are going to meet with the client to discuss those findings as well.
Can I just make one last comment? I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be adversarial, honestly, but you make a great point. You said the area is zoned industrial and you're wanting to put homes there. If you look in any database, AARP, like any database, the air quality and the water quality here is really poor because of its adjacency to the industrial corridor. People who have purchased in this area over years have dealt with it because that's the investment that they've made. So to say that we want to succumb more younger families, newer families to the same circumstances without addressing those issues, and then on top of that, with homes that, in my opinion, and other people could feel perfectly differently, and that's perfectly fine, that just don't seem to rise to the level of, well, I won't even get into that. This is kind of concerning to me. So I just kind of feel like we kind of need to think about this a little bit more. But I know, we're moving in the direction that we're moving in. But I just think that that's a point that just needs to be made. So I just would not feel comfortable if I didn't mention that. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
This is Councilwoman Rowell. I just want to offer something for people to think about. And I've said this before. One, I think it's better for our community to get this rezoned from industrial to residential. I think that's important. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. I think we're getting stuck on elevations, which is a small thing. So I hope the developer will go back and look and take the feedback. But I think it's easier for them to respond when you talk about what you like, as opposed to just saying, no, I don't like. So I did put it in the chat. I was trying to listen to the feedback I heard people saying about the elevations. I put some pictures. I don't know if that's what you meant. I was trying to look at the same time I was listening. It's helpful to give the developer that input at the front end so they can bring back a product that we can all move forward in. So I just want to offer that as opposed to talking about, no, it looks cheap. Give an example. They'll figure out if they can make it work in the price points. I will say I know it was two things I recall because I take notes when we're in these calls. The last two things I heard that I didn't see. We did talk about amenities on the last call. And one of the realtors had mentioned the desire to see at least some floor plans that had either the master on the main if you didn't have a straight out ranch option. So those two things still remain from my notes from the last time you were here, have not been addressed. So I just hope we can get there and we can provide examples. So while we're on this call, if you have some feedback, you can provide them. Let's try to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really good feedback. So in those elevation renderings, we did add a ranch home, and then also there is what we call a Columbia plan, which is a master on the main. So of the 4 plans that we would offer, 2 of those would address master bedrooms on the main floor, one being a ranch and one being a 2-story.
Okay.
So we definitely heard that portion of it. And the second, there's 2 other points. One being, I believe the plan that's here that we've shown today, I do believe there is an updated plan that I will track down and I can email to anybody who's interested that does incorporate a passive amenity. I can't remember if it was a dog park or what have you, but we did hear that. So I'll locate that. And then the third thing that I heard was were the elevations. And again, this kind of goes back to, I heard someone talk earlier about, color. And, obviously the only way to get color is to go the route of more of a craftsman style, which we love doing. And we feel like the grays, you're 100% correct. The grays are very in style, off-white or white. Those are all things that are super easy for us to incorporate. And so loud and clear, we want to make this, again, something that you're proud of, something that is in keeping with kind of what's occurring in the marketplace now, detached homes, a passive amenity area. And so, yeah, and then a master on the main and a ranch home. So hopefully, given all that feedback, we can wrap it all up in a bow, and then maybe the next time that we meet, or I can email it to anybody. We certainly want to do that.
So I just want to ask people provide feedback if any of those images resonate with you. The last couple ones are primarily hardy plank. I remember it was a young lady on the last call who said she wanted less brick.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to be more colorful. And so I think some of those other examples, because these were the original ones, if I recall, then they went back and added more hardy plank because they wanted to offer a uniqueness. I do remember that as a part of the conversation.
I agree. I remember that as well.
So is it the lower right hand that's the ranch or the master on main, Mr. Anthony?
So that is the ranch.
Okay.
And then the home in the upper left, that's your master on the main.
Okay.
I like that ranch.
Mm-hmm.
I like that color scheme too.
Now, and keep in mind here, on this slide here, we put square footage is 1,800 to 2,500 square feet. And we're certainly more than welcome to get the feedback that you have. But the ranch home, as it's shown, and again, we can update this, is actually a smaller home. We think that folks, when they get into a ranch home, they don't need all the square footage and they don't want the upkeep. And so I believe the ranch would start somewhere around 1,400 square feet. And it's just, it's it's just a nice home, easy to maintain. And then the other 3 plans would range. One I think is a little over 1,800 square feet. The master on the main is about 2,300, and the other plan is I think 2,100 and change.
The one down in the lower right-hand corner, which one did you say that was?
The ranch.
That's
Okay,
the ranch.
I like that color scheme. I just sort of like
That's
that.
more of the trendy look that you're thinking of, Marilyn?
I think it's more trendy than the other.
Right, then, and I think when we had the, Councilman Rao, you were correct. When we saw it the last time, the more traditional brick, the more traditional look, we were kind of leaning toward going to the more trendy, like on the bottom. Because that's what we think the young people, like the lady said on the call, they don't like a lot of brick. Yeah.
Yep. We would agree wholeheartedly. It's just somewhere along the line, we got feedback. Maybe it was at another community meeting where they said, and we want brick. And so we bring out the brick.
I think you guys did meet with some people after us, and that it was a more traditional. So
so we're certainly more than willing to, show you different color schemes, go to more of a hardy plank siding, trendy kind of color scheme and look than more of the brick. I think you saw more brick maybe in the, I don't know, probably the late 90s, early 2000s.
And in fairness to Jeff and his team, we've been in conversations for quite a while. And as I've watched these meetings, we have evolved from one place and changes were made with feedback. And then there was more feedback. And at the end of the day, a lot of cases after 2 or 3 discussions, the changes were made. And we ended up back where we were in the beginning. So I think it's important for folks that have not been in the conversation to look at some of our older archive meetings to see what the conversations were, to hear the feedback from people that weighed in earlier, and understand that this is a fluid discussion, and smaller parties involved at different times don't necessarily represent the consensus of the community. So that's just kind of my comment, that from my perspective, this builder has been working with us and trying to find mutually advantageous solutions. But I kind of feel like they came with a red house. Somebody said, no, we wanted blue. Then someone said, no, we wanted purple. And then someone said, no, we want red. And that's kind of what's happened. And maybe if that's not a correct characterization, Catherine or Deborah, you can let me know.
well, I think Councilman Rao kind of summed it up on what we had a consensus on. I don't know if you want to make any further comments.
I don't really have any. I don't want us to get lost in elevations. I think if people can provide specific examples, I put some in the chat to get people at least thinking, reacting, and share that. Let's figure that out. That's a small thing in the big scheme of things. I'll just leave it at that.
So what are the next steps then, Councilman Rao? What should we do? What's the next steps in the process?
Well, let me verify this. Mr. Anderson, have y'all gone to before the planning commission yet, or are you scheduled?
No, not yet. So we're finalizing the application tomorrow. Everything goes in officially. So
Okay.
They'll put us on the schedule thereafter. I want to say it would be maybe 30, or it's either 30 or 60 days we're planning commission, and then 60 to 90 thereafter for council.
Well, it actually moves quicker than that. If you're 60 for the planning commission, usually we are the following month. But again, I think, we're close. I don't know if even if you are submitting tomorrow, hopefully you can take this and come back to us one more time in July. Because I think, you know, it's primarily around elevations, and again, trying to see some amenity in the community, I think is really important. And so if we, I mean,
We
I
can do
think you
that.
should still proceed, you know, because again, that's rezoning, that's a separate track. Even if we get to the point and we're not agreed on elevations, we have time to figure that out. But I want people to be, who should they give their feedback to, Mr. Anthony? Should that go, should that go to Mr. McSwain, or how do you want us to proceed?
Yeah,
or do you just want to come back in July?
Well, I can do both. So if there's any direct feedback, they can email me directly at jeff.anthony@lennar, lennar.com. Certainly more than happy to talk to anyone. And then Taylor or Brittany, if you guys have your email addresses, if you want to give those out as well.
Yes, I am putting my information in the chat, but if you need to reach me, I'll put it on record. It's tlm@battlelawpc.com, and I'm about to put it here in the chat. And again, I'm happy to answer any questions or try to find answers to any of the questions from this meeting. So again, we all appreciate you all for your very great insight on this.
I have a quick question, if I may ask.
Yes.
Okay, when you're showing the various elevations and the colors, would that not be up to the person who's actually purchasing this? You would show them
Well, Jeff might be a little bit
elevations that are available, and they would decide. So is it not that you just show us a varied elevations, and the purchaser will pick whether they want Trini or brick or whatnot?
Well, typically we have to order windows so far in advance now. It is crazy. It takes us 6 to 7 months to get windows, believe it or not. So the way that we have to build homes today is we are deciding well in advance kind of the color scheme for the entire community and the elevations for the entire community. And so I think most home builders, gone are the days where folks come in, they choose their lot, they choose, you know, all of their color schemes on the exterior. And so what we can do, though, is we can bring a color scheme board, if you will, and just show how all of the colors will kind of play together. And so it'll give you a really good idea of the theme and maybe even probably help paint a better picture of kind of the trendy color scheme that I think you'll see. I think that would help outline things very well.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
So what I'm gathering is, Anthony, we will have you back on the agenda on the July meeting. And you can come back and present. And at the time, we'll go ahead and work with the city, with the zoning and all of that. You kind of have a 2-track process going on.
Yep, that would be great. Would love to participate and go ahead and take the feedback and update the presentation and go from there.
Okay. Well, we want to thank, if there are no other questions, we want to thank them for coming. And you all can reach out to me to get ready for the July 7th meeting, but I will put you on the agenda. Thanks again.
All right.
You're up next.
Who, me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Couple quick updates. On June 3rd, which is tomorrow, we have the Mayor's Taste of Soul Food at the Southwest Arts Center from 6 to 10 p.m. If you're not doing anything, please come on out, enjoy some live entertainment, and just get out and get some fresh air. On July 30th, we have Healthy South Fulton Day. That's my back to school event that I do in partnership with Councilwoman Gums. And we also partner with Touch of Life Chiropractic in the Sheldon Williams Foundation. So we'll be giving kids back to school supplies, doing health screening, and have all kind of health providers on that day. On June 18th, we have Juneteenth Day at Wolf Creek Amphitheater to be from 1 to 10 p.m. Again, another opportunity for you to get out and about. I already heard our fire department give you the update that we now have a new ladder truck that's housed at Station 11 on FIB. It's one of the many capital improvement projects that are currently underway across the city. On June 8th, at 6 p.m. at Diamond Hall and Conference Center, the Old National Highway Livable City Center initiative is underway. So we'll be getting input from residents about what they'd like to see as it relates to future development along Old National Highway. And finally, well, it was already mentioned, August 2nd, from 6 to 8 is on Old National Night Out. So those are just a couple quick updates that most of them weren't covered in the other reports. So I was trying not to be redundant. If anybody has any additional questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Mrs. Harvey, I was just going to suggest that you tell people how they can sign up for your newsletter.
I'll put it in the chat.
Councilman Gums on the call. I don't think I see her. If she is, I want to give her a chance to speak. She's not there. Stephanie, do you want to talk about your flyer?
Okay.
You're on mute.
Okay. Thank you. June is National Homeowners Month, and at Better Homes and Gardens Metro Brokers Cascade office, we're celebrating this month by having a community day open house. So we're inviting current homeowners and future homeowners. We're gonna have lots of information, and we're having a dessert truck, and we'll be giving away a 58-inch smart TV. So come on out if you wanna just come out and learn information about what's going on in the market. We'd love to share with you all those who had questions about new homes that are being built in the area. I challenge you to go out and look at some of those new developments so you could see what they look like. And things have changed through the years. A lot of homes are close together. The products that they make is not the same, just like the products of a car is not the same as it was a few years ago. But if you have questions about anything, we have information that we could share with you about some of the communities that are coming up in the area. So come on out if you have a chance, just swing by. We're right here, Cascade and Fairburn Road, behind the Chick-fil-A.
With that said, Stephanie, what is, looking at this development, and we've had this discussion, what is, with the price points and the location of where this development is, what is your take?
Well, right now, the average resale home in Metro Atlanta is up $367,000. That's a resale home. For new construction, they're right at $400,000. So for this price point and for the square footage, it seems to be economically pretty good. And right now, people just need a home. And it's very difficult for people to pay around $400,000. And now the interest rate has doubled since January. And people that serve our community, I talked to some people that are policemen, and they can't afford to live in the community that they serve. So that's a good price point for right now. And what's happened in the market is because the interest rates have gone up, it has, some people are no longer in the market. They costed out. So because they can't afford, interest rates are right at 6%. So, and the houses are going up. In Wind Creek, my community, the homes are right at like 570 to 602. So I challenge you to come through the community and you'll see the difference. It's not the same product that was built in 2004 when they built that community. So just go to the back and you'll see the difference. And with any community that they're building now. So they have a community, Night Construction has a community in off Butner. You know, those are the high 400 and 500s for new construction, and those are a little bit larger. There's communities that are smaller, but they are right at 400,000. So by the end of the year, they will be over 400,000. So that's kind of what you get with new construction.
Well, we value your perspective, and we're glad that you joined the calls to help us, you know, kind of think and look at it in terms of what's actually happening now and what the market is looking for and what the new buyers are looking for. And yes, interest rates have gone up tremendously, and it looks like they will continue to do that, which in turn, people will have a hard time qualifying. And that's why you find so many people getting calls right now from all over the place asking if you want to sell your home. And if you look at any of the news reports, you will see it's a lot of big companies that are getting into the housing market, buying these houses sight unseen, remodeling them, renting them out, and they in turn are getting all of the equity into their companies, as opposed to individuals having equity and building their wealth. And so for me to have a diverse product mix, I want to see our young people that live in this community to start to build their own wealth and give them a product that they can start that process, because it is a process. And we want them to, you know, build their wealth, live in their starter homes or what have you, and then move into the other homes that are available when they are ready to do that. So diversity is very important in the community.
Can I also share something just for people to think about? I think I would encourage anybody just to go to any real estate site, put in our zip code and see what comes up. The houses we paid for in 1990, those houses are every bit of 400,000, pushing 500,000. As Ms. Hudson just said about the night homes, that square footage is very similar than the house I built 2 decades ago. And the reality is that you're really talking about the high 4s, getting into the 5s for those homes. And so young people, they talk about a lot of things. They have more student loan debt, a lot more on their plates than I just say previous generations. I talked to a young professional who lives in a townhome community right in our area in District 1. And one of the things he talks about is, and he has a great job, works at CNN, has high student loans, paying over $1,000 a month in student loans. And so the reality we had when we may have come out of college is very different than what young professionals are experiencing now. So I just want you to be mindful that it is hard to find housing, period. It just is. So if you sell your house and you don't have anywhere to go, you're in trouble, or you're going to be going somewhere way far out. So I just be cognizant of what's going on currently in the market. It's very, very different.
I agree with that. Are there any other comments, questions? It is 8:04, and you know we like to try to stay on time and not take up all of your evening. So go ahead.
Hey, Debbie, Rebecca left an announcement in the chat of an upcoming event.
I'm sorry, Rebecca.
Yeah, she left an announcement in the chat. I'm not sure if she's on or not, but she did leave an
Yes,
announcement.
there I am. Hi, good afternoon, good evening, I guess. With CDRA, just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that the Old National Highway Livable Centers Initiative, that's a master planning project that the city is undertaking. We received some grant funding from Atlanta Regional Commission. We are doing a community kickoff for that planning effort next Wednesday, June 8th. It begins at 6 p.m. and that's going to be happening at Diamond Hall and Conference Center on the Old National Highway corridor. We've got more information on the city's webpage and in the news flash that's on the website.
And Rebecca and Richard, I'm sorry, you all are on the agenda. I apologize, I just missed that. If you all want to take this opportunity to present, please feel free to do so. I apologize.
We do have a presentation and kind of a survey for everyone on the call to take. I know it's getting late into the evening, so you let me know if, I don't know, Richard, how quickly do you think we could kind of get through it? Do you want to do it now or look at being on the agenda next month?
Is the
I think
survey?
we could probably get through it in 10 to 15 minutes if we needed to.
Is that something be okay tonight?
Sure, I'm good if everybody else is.
All right.
Go right ahead.
All right, perfect. Thank you all for allowing us to come present to you all tonight. So we have been discussing with Councilwoman Rao updating the Sandtown LCI. And here you'll see at the bottom here, we've got a little QR code that we'll also put in the chat. If you can type in that address into your phone or in another tab, that's how we're going to conduct the survey at the end. It'll be all virtual so we can collect written statements and yes, no answers as well. I will also have this available on my last slide as well.
And if you email it to me at harvey@sandtown.org, I can also disseminate it.
Oh, this is just a live, it's a
Okay.
live survey. So essentially what happens, we're only taking from you all right now. And once we get closer to actually doing the plan, then we can open it up to the whole city or just the Sandtown area. So the Sandtown LCI was last updated in 2015 under Fulton County. And as we know, ARC used to require that it be updated every 5 years. So ARC has now taken that requirement away. And they only require an update for a report of accomplishments when you apply for new funding. So essentially what we want to do now is get the LCI, the Sandtown LCI, into a good place so we can apply for funding next year to where we could potentially get the whole plan rewritten and get a new plan for you all with a much more in-depth update. So for now, we're trying to keep this more as like a small area plan that would also assist with long-range planning efforts and aiding in decisions on zoning matters. And here are a few things that over the next few months, staff is going to look into doing to update the LCI. We're going to look at updating the economic development story map with the economic development department. Get updates from Public Works on all of the sidewalk, road improvements, and all the different public works improvements that have been gone on in Sandtown. And then making sure we have all the zonings for Sandtown updated as well, just to make sure we know exactly what the density is everywhere and see what we've been approving in one place on a map. And some of the questions we're about to ask you all in these surveys is the current density allowance what the community actually wants? What type of commercial development would you all like to see in Sandtown? I know there's a new Chipotle that's coming in and stuff. Are those the type of businesses you want in, or are there other businesses that you would like to see? Are there additional architectural requirements that you would like to see? Are there transportation improvements that are needed that are not already on the list of public works improvement that we may not know about? Because you all are in Sandtown more than staff is, because you're there every day because you live there. And is there a lack of housing diversity, connectivity, and green space, which was listed in the 2015 update? So are these still issues the community is still facing? And here, you can also log into the survey now. I'll give you a few minutes. So we're just trying to get some initial information from you all so we can move forward with some preliminary research and getting an update started. So hopefully we can apply for money from ARC again at the end of the year into early next year to get the LCI completely rewritten. And lastly, if you think of something later tonight or tomorrow that you want to add to any of this, feel free to email me here, just so we can have everything noted down. And I think Rebecca's going to take over now to go over the polling with you all.
Yeah, if you want, if you'll stop your share, then I'll jump in. All right. So the first question is, do you find that there's still a lack of housing diversity? And we wanted to define that for you as a range of dwelling types and sizes in the Sandtown area. So we'll just give you a moment to respond to this. And then we can also see your live responses here. I'll give it a minute to kind of.
Your screen's not sharing, Rebecca.
Oh, it's not. Oh, you know what? I haven't clicked share. All right, so I've got the poll here, and right now you should be able to access from that link that I sent in the chat to be able to input on just this question, what your response is. And here in just a minute, we will view the responses.
Okay, y'all, I've typed it in, but I can't. Okay, it's asking me for a username.
So it's just asking you to put in, you could either, on the desktop version, I was able to skip that if you didn't want to put a username, but you just type in a name.
Okay, I'm on my phone, so hold on. Okay, so now I can hit join. And it's not letting me join.
Try clicking the link in the chat.
Yeah. If you click the link, you could do it in another browser and answer.
Okay, hold on.
I believe where it asks for the username, you'll need to put in what was in the link as well. I believe it is J Steinbach 553.
Hold on, let me.
If you click on a link, it takes you directly there.
I'm doing it now. I got it.
All right. So it looks like pretty overwhelming that we're seeing that there is likely a lack of housing diversity. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next one. That's you can go back to this and be able to. All right. So the next one I'm going to open up. Do you find that there's still a lack of vehicular connectivity in the Sandtown area? So that one should be live for you to respond to now.
Now I don't see it. It didn't come up on mine. It's still on housing diversity.
Can you click to the next question?
Okay.
Is that working for everyone?
Yes.
No, it didn't work for me either.
It's not working for me. I'm still, I don't see the, it gives me a to take away my answer on the first question, undo vote, but.
All right, let me take a look from your perspective.
Yeah, actually, I have the same thing.
This is a neat process.
let me see if I can troubleshoot here really quickly. You know, it might have just shared that one question. So let me see if I can share the entire thing with you. All right, was that a different link? Looks like the same link, so it should be going, allowing you to go on, and it looks like it's had a couple responses. For the couple people who it worked for, was there anywhere on the slide that you were able to click to go on to the next one?
Rebecca, what I'm seeing is it's working on my cell phone, but it's not working on my desktop.
And for me, I can't get it on my cell, but I got it on my desktop.
Well, let me give you, you know, Richard, the link that I shared with you earlier is not pulling up directly from the program. So let me actually type in I think that's probably what it is. pollev.com. All right. Yes. Well, and that didn't hyperlink. So give me a second.
You gotta love technology.
Yep. Sorry about this, guys. All right. So if you copy and paste that shorter link that I just put in there, for some reason it didn't hyperlink, probably because I didn't put a www.
You just put another one in the chat?
Yeah, it's the shorter one, the pollev.com/jsteinbach553.
Okay.
And that is showing the full thing.
All right. Let's see what we can do.
All right, and it looks like we're getting some responses now. Let me share my screen again.
Okay, let's see what happens.
All right, so yes, again, some overwhelming response that we're lacking vehicular connectivity. So that has a lot of implications for you know, policy regulations for new development, interparcel connectivity, dead end, allowing or not allowing dead end streets, things like that from a commercial standpoint. All right.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Should have flipped to the next one. I think we're rolling now. All right. So the next one, do you still find there's a lack of pedestrian or other non-motorized connectivity? So that could be, and let me unlock this one. That could be anything from, you know, sidewalks, multi-use paths, places for, I know there aren't a lot of, you know, micro mobility like scooters and things, but it's likely something that might eventually be supported. And so is there a location for those kinds of things? Bicycles? So
We're on the same page.
All right, so the next one, how would you rate the Sandtown area's availability of green space? And just as a heads up, the next one is, and then the quality of green space, is it kind of serving your needs? So this first one is just, is there enough? And the next one is going to be what you do have. Is it what you need? All right, so we've got kind of middle of the road and maybe not enough for some folks. Give you just another few seconds to kind of contemplate it. All right. And like I said, this next one is related to the quality of green space, is what you do have, the kind of green space that you want to see. And certainly if you have any, Richard put his email address up. If you've got any specific comments or feedback that qualify some of your responses, then we're happy to hear that as well. This is just kind of the first take at moving forward with an update. And like Richard said, supports a future grant application. The old national LCI project that we got and are implementing right now, there's potential for applying for similar funds for this update. And so this just goes to support, those efforts and that application that you've already put in this legwork and started gathering feedback. All right, so kind of middle of the road, it looks like, with a little bit more positive for what you do have. All right, so this next one, how appropriate do you feel the current development patterns are for the Sandtown area? And again, this is kind of a paired question. This is the current development pattern. So, density, architecture, use types that currently exist and are built within the Sandtown area. There is going to be another one for, things that are coming down the pipe, like that maybe Earth is turning for it. It's entitled through a zoning or something. So we want to understand those kind of separately for what the built environment is today and what it is, what's coming. All right, so we've got somewhat appropriate and a little bit not very appropriate as the two majority responses there. All right. Again, you can go back to these. I'll, in the interest of time, I'll go ahead and jump to the next one. Similar question, how appropriate you feel the underway development patterns are for area architecture use types. So anything that's imminent or under construction today. All right, trending toward the more appropriate side. I think that's a testament to cityhood and more local control and kind of the new comprehensive plan. All right, so this next one, turn it on. Are there transportation improvements that need to be made in the Sandtown area? If so, where? And so this is just a short answer that we'll kind of digest the feedback from.
I don't know.
Are there any particularly, troublesome intersections that we need to be aware of?
Well, now you say that.
Always, right?
Yeah. But I I'm gonna put, I'm just gonna kind of talk out loud. I'm gonna put Camp Creek and Hamilton, but I know that that is going to be looked at.
Sure. And you know what, the more documents and policy documents and references to something like that, the more likely it is to receive, other funding opportunities, because
Right.
it's identified as a priority. So it's certainly not redundant, being able to put it in there.
And I'm gonna add Camp Creek and Enon. Camp Creek and Enon Road. That is a bottleneck area. Yeah.
And certainly, I think probably the first thing that comes to mind is vehicular, but also consider if there's anything related to, are there any particularly, overall sidewalk needs or specific areas where there's a path that a lot of people walk that's really in more immediate need for connectivity?
I got one. Sidewalks, and I know we've been talking about it from Boat Rock to New Hope. I see a lot of people in the morning when I head out to work. I see a lot of people walking, and they're walking on the grass and all of that good stuff. So I know that was one time.
Actually, Councilwoman can give you some updates as it relates to sidewalks.
Yeah.
What's in the pipeline already? I mean, we're going to have sidewalks on New Hope Road from Boat Rock to Danforth, and sidewalks on Boat Rock are part of the plan with it. Correct.
And we also have sidewalks scheduled for New Hope. My next level of advocacy is to try to get sidewalks on Cascade Road.
Cool.
Yeah, and I know that's some of the low-hanging fruit funding we were gonna look at and talk to GDOT for some of the safety improvement funding and things that doesn't have a lot of strings.
I see sidewalks.
This is your wish list. Put everything on there.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
I said, this is your wish list. Put everything on there.
Uh-huh. All right, so then we can go on to the next one. All right, what type of commercial development would you like to see? Just as so that you understand the context of some of these questions. So when as staff and then also as the elected body use these policy guiding documents, the comprehensive plan, these small area plans, typically I like the small area plans to be adopted as an addenda to the comprehensive plan, so they carry some of the force of the comprehensive plan as far as compliance requirements for rezonings and things. So when there are different policies stated in these documents that we can point to as staff, as developers come in to talk to us of, what do you want to see in this area? What's identified in these policy documents really does guide those development conversations. So that's why this is really helpful. This is kind of a word cloud. So as some of the different words are used more in your responses, then it will become bigger.
Mine doesn't have a question for some reason.
Can you refresh your window maybe? Did that work, Dr. Rao?
Nope, but let's see. Just keep playing with it.
Polling, interesting.
So what are you seeing?
I just see the history of all my questions from the first 7.
Restaurants, of course. Entertainment.
Look on the left ledger. You probably have selected history. If you would go and click on the graph at the top, that might make a difference.
Okay, let me try.
Great answer.
Medical. Okay. So we'll dig down into some of these. Dr. Rao, I'll give you another minute. And we just got one more after this. All right.
The community center.
All right. Now for the last one, are there additional architectural requirements that you would like to see? Of course, these could be, reflected in the overlay if we wanted to. The kind of follow-up step to adjusting or to making the amendments to the LCI would then be making sure the zoning ordinance is forwarding those policies, that vision. And so it would be possibly adjustments to the overlay in particular as it relates to the Sandtown area.
Well, we just went through a review of the overlay and did some adjustments to it to expand on the color schemes and exterior materials.
So it's possible that that's kind of up to date for what your vision is. That very well might be.
Yeah.
Okay, like prohibited uses, I like that.
Well, the overlay has, I'm just reading some of the comments. We do have prohibited uses in there.
So we added that since the one came at Sitco. So we added the head shop to the restrictions since the one that came at Sitco Station at Boat Rock. And,
okay.
No, I'm asking, did we add that?
I don't recall. Let's see, they may have already been in place. I'll have to look.
I think have better pedestrian focus at front of buildings. Very good point. Overlay boundaries. Oh yes, is that that's a really good point since that is fairly new. Is there an overall desire to expand into that?
There is an overlay district for the industrial area.
The other one.
And last year I introduced the ordinance to require more landscaping requirements in an industrial area, and you actually see them if you go down Foot and Industrial and make a left on Camp Creek. You'll notice they sit back. You can't see them, and the front is landscaped.
Cool. Modern look.
We go back to the one that says high rises.
Yeah.
What was the response?
Change for higher building.
Building style.
That would require a change to the overlay because isn't it a current height requirement?
Yep, it is. we only go,
Is it four? It's not, it's 3 stories, I
it's
think.
3 stories, that's the height.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, we don't, yeah. In keeping with it being such a residential area,
I can't recall if we've tweaked the lighting to accommodate some of the newer.
We did.
Yeah, we
We
did.
did. It allowed for LEDs. None of that was in place. And I think shoebox, we removed that or something, or allowed it. I can't remember. But we did make some of those changes.
Yeah.
I'll go back and look at it to get up to speed.
It's almost like you kind of have to revisit it periodically so you can remember.
Exactly.
All right, so, and that concludes the initial survey that we've got. It's just kind of a first attempt at getting that input and understanding kind of what direction you all wanted to go. And so there's more of this to come. So we look forward to working with you, whether or not that be on the staff level or, in the future with a consultant through the LCI process. So that's everything that we've got tonight. Thank you for letting us be here and getting your input.
And well, thank you very much. And again, I apologize. I have you on the agenda and I just totally, I just didn't see. And I do apologize for that, but this was fun. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. I hope this was informative to some of you who haven't been on the call and that you will continue to join us. We will have a call on July 7th so that Lenore will present. And after that, we will come back to you to let you know if we're going to continue with them, because we're trying to put together our golf tournament and we need time to do that. And right now it's scheduled to be in September. And we need to get moving on making those arrangements. But again, thank you all for coming. And if you have any questions or comments, you can email me at debbie@sandtown.org. And if I don't know the answers, I'll certainly get them for you. But thanks again, everybody, and I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.